Hello, thank you for joining us. Today we've got Ryan K. Mall, who's the president of Integrity Doctors, the world's largest chiropractic consulting company, also the host of the popular Expect Awesome podcast, a best-selling author of the children's book I Am Awesome, and he's about to release a new YouTube web series called Chiropractic Awesomeness. Over the last 15 years, Ryan has traveled the world teaching chiropractic business from the impact of the patient's perspective. Ryan's won international acclaim with awards in both education and marketing for his ability to communicate and impact the masses. These awards include being a 3-time Bronze Telly Award winner for outstanding achievement in patient education, 2-time Web Award winner for outstanding achievement in chiropractic web marketing, and a Mobile Web Award winner for its outstanding achievement in mobile app design. Thank you so much for joining us today, and take it away.
Well, thank you, Valerie. First off, let me just say what an awesome privilege it is to always be here at the Georgia Chiropractic Association. You guys are an awesome crew. It's always a pleasure to get to talk to you, and it's a pleasure to be asked to be able to do these things. Today, I have got a class prepared for you that I am very excited about. This is something that I have spent a lot of time on the last couple of years kind of organizing and putting together. And it's kind of a labor of love, so to speak, for myself, and something that I've been kind of coming out to push on the profession this year. And it's the concept of culture. And culture is something that you see a lot and you hear it a lot from a lot of different places. And the problem with where you see it everywhere, if you kind of type in even business culture and you search for it on YouTube, you're kind of always brought to the same examples everywhere of Google and these huge companies that create these cultures that are not necessarily based off of work. It's more based off of comfort. And with comfort, meaning like they have slides that they put in. They provide everybody with bicycles. They have rooms that are prepared for naps. And you can just go take a break whenever you want, and free food everywhere, and all these different things. And while they provide some basis for decent ideas, they're not really achievable or even realistic for a small business, let alone a chiropractic office. So I really thought that what they were teaching basically, and the basic concept of culture, was valuable and something that needed to be done and needs to be done everywhere, including your office. But I didn't feel like there was a way to truly understand it and to truly grasp the necessity of it. So that's why I created this class that I'm going to teach. I'm going to give you kind of an abbreviated version of something that takes me a lot of time to present, but it's for that reason. I want to make sure that you understand the strength and the necessity of having a culture built into your office, an expectation. So to do that easily, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you. So if you're watching this video, I'm gonna show you what it is here. So I'm gonna show you kind of through slides what this is. So this is how I define office culture in the chiropractic setting. Office culture is the overall worth perceived with being an employee in your office. This desirability is made up of the predictable value of the office's work environment, work relationships, commitment to excellence, and the impact achieved in the community. Now, this is where it's different, and you don't see this everywhere. You don't have this everywhere. This is why it's so different for us, because we want to make sure that you see and understand that culture is a thing. Culture's not worrying about ethnicity. Culture's not worrying about random bits of information and things. Culture is basically understanding that every single person who walks into your office has a perception of what the value of your business is. And when they see that perceived value creates multiple things. It creates a desirability to work there, a desirability to go there, and a desirability to tell others about your office. So if you've wondered why different things are happening, why things are changing, why people talk about you at one time and then they stop, a lot of it has to do with the culture. Do they see this as a desirable place? Now, when it comes to culture, there are reasons why this is so important to focus on. And there are reasons why I think even right now it's important. I think coming off of this pandemic, most of us went from a very non-culture mindset to we're just trying to survive. And being in the mindset of just trying to survive the pandemic meant that We started getting off of service. We started doing things that weren't necessarily nice or fun or easy. It was more or less, let's just get through the day. Let's just get through the week. And that's where, if we don't understand that we have to leave that thought behind and leave that behind, then we can't win, because we're just not going to be able to function, because we are going to constantly be fighting the wrong thing. We're going to stay in this task-oriented mindset. And when you stay in a task-oriented mindset, you're just completing things rather than worrying about how important it is that we take care of people, not just from a chiropractic sense, but from a customer service sense. And that's where this is truly valuable. So the rewards for this are, I want to make sure that we're working on your culture because it provides better teamwork. You'll have better workers and you'll have more productivity. You'll have more fans of your office. You'll get more referrals and patients who want to actually work for you. The biggest one, truly, I feel, is less turnover. I think there's a lot of times where we blame things for staff quitting, and they're not really the true reason why they quit. I think this is one that's a really kind of maybe a punch to the stomach for some people, but it really could be that the reason you're having so much turnover is because they don't like you. And I know that's not a fun thing to say. I know that's not a popular mindset, but a lot of times what happens is, over time, just as a business owner, as a doctor, you change a little bit and you get kind of stuck in the repetition and you get stuck in the monotony, and you just start doing things and you don't really worry about how the perception is of these things. And I think a lot of times we like to blame outside sources. We'll say that the reason they quit is because it's this generation, it's millennials, it's Generation Z, it's these, they're just not good workers, they're not dedicated. That's really not true. The honest truth is, the reason they quit, maybe they just didn't like where they worked. Maybe they just didn't like the work environment. Maybe they didn't like the culture. So unless we can actually be honest with ourselves and recognize that maybe the problem is us rather than the problem is them, that's where everything can change. And that's why culture is so important. So when you have a culture and you understand that you have a culture, and whether you want to recognize it as a culture or not, if you're not working to build and make that culture better, that's where the problems start. Because once you have a good culture, you also have more internal pride. See, when you're proud to work for a place, you love telling people about it. You love talking about it. You love encouraging other people to go to it. If you wonder why you're not getting referrals, it's just because maybe people aren't enjoying where they're coming to. But if you can build a strong office culture that's built on funness, that's built on just enjoyment, all of this leads to decreased stress and anxiety. Because right now, that's really what we're all facing, is just a constant upheaval of stress and anxiety. We have too much of it. So we have to get away from it. We have to not worry about that, but we have to strengthen the culture. Now, if you're thinking already, well, I don't even know if any of this is worth anything. Well, trust me, it is. This is a study done in 2019, done by an employee recruitment company called Built In. They're an international recruitment organization. And they found these numbers are unbelievable. 47% of active job seekers cite company culture as their driving reason for looking for work. Notice that's half. Half of people looking for a job right now are looking based on culture, meaning based on how desirable it is to work at the place they're applying for. 35% of American workers say they would pass on the perfect job if they felt the company culture wasn't a good fit. This one I think is even more fascinating. This 35%, 1 out of 3 of all Americans would pass on their dream job. Dream job. So dream position, dream everything. They would pass on it if they thought the place that they were getting to work at wasn't great. If they didn't like it, they didn't like the people there, if they didn't feel like it was happy enough, whatever it is. But if the culture isn't right, they wouldn't work there. Employees who don't like their organization's culture are 24% more likely to quit. Obviously, 1/3 of job seekers report being willing to take a 10% pay cut for a job they are passionate about. This is not a surprise. We have taught this for years. One thing that most business owners do is they think that everything, key to everything is money. They think if you just want better employees, you just pay them better. No, that's not it. It's not about pay. People see value in passion, and they see value in you loving what you do and loving who you're helping and loving what this is all about. If people think that this is just a surface company, if we're just treating the surface, if we're just people in, people out, we don't really care, we're just here to make sure we can pay everybody. If they don't see something bigger, if there's no bigger picture, people don't want to work there. And then lastly, 38% of US employees want a job that aligns with their interests and passions. So this is key to all things. See, the best teams understand that culture is built upon purpose. And so I can't say that even stronger enough. If your staff doesn't understand the purpose of why that you open each day, that's our first culture problem. That's the first culture problem we have to examine, we have to fix. Your staff needs to understand that you are opening for a reason. If they think it's just to treat people, that's a problem. See, this should be about something bigger. There should be a dream in there. There should be something in it that they understand why we are doing this. We're not just doing this to make people feel better. We're not just doing this people to help them and heal them. No, there has to be a bigger picture. As an easy example, I would say if you don't know what that bigger picture is, it's wellness. We want everybody to be under wellness care. We should want every single person on this planet regularly getting chiropractic care. We should be replacing the medical model. Because the one thing that you'll notice, as I'll show even some more statistics later, we have to be the standard. We can't rely on any other form of healthcare to be the standard that we then work towards. We need to set the bar. We need to raise the bar. We need to set it in a way that everybody else should be coming to us. But that can't happen unless we realize the importance of the purpose behind it. See, the culture, if you understand that your office has a culture and a purpose, that means that everything changes because you work for it differently. Let me give you a unique example. So I've been married now for 4 years. And before I got married, I had to do the thing that every man has to go do, which is called buy an engagement ring. So I went around and I went to all the stores, whether Kay, Jared, pretty much every store that had a jingle that's in a mall, I went there. And I would constantly go and I'd be looking and I'd be looking for certain things. And I just couldn't figure out what to do. I couldn't figure out what to buy. And so here I was, there just happened to be this one day where I was sitting I was eating at this outdoor cafe, and it just so happened to be next to this jewelry store. It wasn't a famous one, no, wasn't a brand name or anything. And I thought, well, while I'm here, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to go check it out because I've seen every store. I've checked every place. I don't really know what to do. And so I walk in and I'm looking at rings, and this gentleman stops me behind the counter and he says, hello, sir, well, how can I help you today? I said, oh, I'm good. I'm just looking at engagement rings. He said, okay, then come here, have a seat. And so he brought me to this table and we sat down together, and he said, I have a question for you. And his question was, how much do you love her? And, as soon as it was asked, I was kind of surprised, maybe shocked at the question. I mean, naturally my thought inside was, I'm proposing. You got to love somebody enough to even shop for rings. It's another thing to actually plan on doing it and do this whole, obviously I love her quite a bit. I told him, I said, well, I love her enough to propose to her. And he looked back and he goes, no. How much do you love her? And again, I just was like, a lot. A lot, like a lot. Like I really love this girl. Like this, I see this girl as the one. I love this girl. I really love her. And he looked back at me and smiled. He said, no, how much do you love her? And I finally I said, why don't you tell me the answer? Why don't you, in case she hits me with this question, I'd feel better if I knew the answer, because obviously everything I'm saying isn't working. And he just kind of giggled to himself, and he looked at me and he said, here's what I'm getting at. He goes, you've told me that you've looked around at all these different stores, that you've gone to all these different ring places, and you've looked around and you just can't find what you want. And he said, the reason I'm asking how much do you love her is because I want to know one thing. Are you looking for a ring based on how much you love her? or is your ring based on the budget that you've placed? And immediately it was like I'd been sucker punched. It was like, whoa, that's, I, you know, if, because let's just be honest, let's be honest. I had a budget in mind. I had a budget I was going for. And when he said that, I instantly knew. It's like, yeah, I have a certain ring, but it's been based off the budget. And this man just got me. And he ended up, I can also say, he sold me a ring that day, which was way more than the budget that I originally planned or even thought I was going to do. But in the process of paying for the ring, in the process of doing all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff, I asked him, I said, you know, I was like, I'm in sales and I teach this stuff. And I was like, you closed me and you closed me well. And you got me. I said, what was the difference? Like, what, like, why are you so good at this? And he looked at me and he said, he goes, well, there's a big difference between me and every other place you went. And he said, the difference is they sell diamonds and I love them. And you know, the honest truth is, when he said that, I instantly knew that while I had spent a lot on a ring, this little interaction was way more valuable. And I was going to take more home from this than a ring. And it's a story I've kept a long time because it's one that I've used internally for a lot of different things. And I think it's the reason why that we sometimes mess up in business and we mess up in our doctor's offices, is because I think a lot of times we forget the underlying piece to every puzzle is that, do you love this thing or not? I think there's a lot of people that like treatment. I think there's a lot of people who like chiropractic, but I think there's a difference between liking chiropractic and loving chiropractic. I think there's a difference between liking healing and loving healing. I think there's an even bigger difference between liking people and loving people. So this is why I think this is so key. I think if we don't understand the purpose behind why we walk in the door every single morning to check in and to sign in at work, then we're just liking it. We're not truly loving it. See, I want to make sure that every single patient gets the perfect care, not just the healing, not just the treatments, but they're treated with love, that they are cared for, that they are watched over. If we're not doing that, we're messing it up. Now, why do I care about that? Because the honest truth is, the thing I've been doing for 16 years in this profession, I'm not a doctor, nor am I a staff member. I am a patient. I am a lifelong patient. And to me, this is me advocating for every single other patient that's out there. I have to make sure that we are not just healing them, we are taking care of them, and we're doing this the right way. See, why do I think this is so important? See, changing your culture and improving your culture shows that you care more than just about dollars and cents, that this isn't just about making money for you. I know that this has changed. I know what I'm talking about is changing things. I know what I'm going to tell you in a minute of some of the ideas I have to help you with this. This is going to rock the way you think. This is going to challenge you in ways you don't really like being challenged. But the reason for it is that right now you are being hindered not by change, but by fear. See, your current stress that you have over all the things happening in your world is all based around your fear of change. That's all it is. Everything. I can point to everything that you're doing, everything that you're facing, everything that you are currently struggling with right now. And I can point to one thing. It isn't the actual issue that's bothering you. It's not the solution that's bothering you. It's the fear of changing for it that's bothering you. It's the fear of the outcomes. It's you fighting all of the different hypotheticals that are coming your way. And that's what we have to fix. That's what we have to stop. See, we have to change. I have to change. I'm constantly changing. We have to change. But the problem is, in healthcare, change doesn't happen very easily. There, as a simple, culture is extremely rare in healthcare. The medical community has provided such a horrible example of what culture is, of what change is. This is from a study from 2017 from a group called Kaufman Hahn Associates. It was a nationwide poll done just on healthcare. And these numbers are incredible. 81% of consumers are unsatisfied with their healthcare experience, and the less they interact with the system, the happier they are. 63% of patients would say that 63% of healthcare organizations believe they are delivering on patient care, while only 43% of their patients actually agree. Only 30% of healthcare organizations surveyed have tools or practices in customer service. Now, I'm not saying these numbers to depress you or to kick you or to knock healthcare down. What I'm saying is what I mentioned earlier. Hospitals have set the bar so extremely low. It's literally an inch off the ground. So what that means is we as chiropractors and chiropractic offices, we have to change very little. Very little. We have to improve very little to literally raise the bar double what they've put it at. Don't believe me? Walk into an emergency room. Just walk into one. I've been to emergency rooms before with family. I've taken family there and there'd been no one in the waiting room. I've walked in, checked in, be the only one there, and still wait for 2 hours out there. Still just sit out there like they're full. Because they're not worried about service. They're not doing it the right way. See, what they're doing is they're seeing the value in the treatment, not in the service. And I'm telling you that this line that's bolded in red here at the bottom, when you perceive the treatment as the main value, the customer service is the primary victim. This happens everywhere in all healthcare. When you think the value is in the treatment, it's the service that's the victim. Which means this: I do want to feel better. I do want to be healed. I do want to get better. But I don't want to do it at the cost of service. I don't want to be treated crappy and just get the healing. I can get the healing, I can get the fix, but if you didn't treat me good, it doesn't mean I'm coming back. You can be the greatest adjuster in the world, but if your service stinks, it doesn't matter. That's why we have to focus on this culture. We have to focus on the culture, because really what culture is truly about internally in the office, it's about one simple thing: trust. See, for most of you, when you started out of school and you started a new job and you, let's say, created your chiropractic office, it was you and typically one staff member. It could have been even your mom. It could have been your wife. It could have been a family member or a friend, but it was just you and this other person. And what happened when you started off, you had to trust them because you couldn't be in two places at one time. So you did everything you needed to do as the doctor, and that person, you trusted them to do whatever they needed at the front desk, and you trusted. The problem is, as you grew and you added more people and you ran into staffing issues, all of a sudden what really impacted, what really changed is that you started trusting less. And so your culture suffered because you trusted less, meaning you added more people, but instead of trusting them to do the job that you hired them to do, you spend more time picking them apart and acting like they can't do it. It has to be you. You've got to overlook everything. You've got to check everything. What happens is we drop the trust and immediately the culture sinks. We have to recognize the importance of the culture. Now, culture, if like I say, it starts with the purpose, and that's why we have a thing in integrity that we call the heart of the office. And it's something I want to show all of you because I think it's something that all of you can use if you understand the way this works. So when you have a purpose and you work for the purpose means that we impact. We are big at impact at Integrity Doctors. We do everything for impact. It's all about how are we impacting ourselves, our team, our patients, and how are we impacting our communities. So if we look at that from a deal, so you have to have in place a set of core values. That's where all culture starts. All culture has to start by setting values for your office. If you don't set values for the office, we're in trouble. Now, I'm going to give you just a sample of these that you can use. If you're watching, you can screenshot this. If you're listening, I'm going to read through them so that you know what they are. But this is just a sample, an example of something you should set. But you need to have values that every single person in the office lives by, knows, and applies. So if I go through them here, first one, the first core value is everyone is a leader. The second core value, we put chiropractic first. The third core value, we work with a passion for people. The fourth core value, we provide wow service. The fifth core value, we take responsibility for the results of our positions. And the last one, and this is one for us, but the word just applies to everybody, we have integrity. Now, these are vital. I feel like, honestly, I think one of the big problems we have in hiring is that we hire people and we immediately start training them on the position where we need to train them on these values first. We should start with these values. If we're not teaching them these values, because these values are basically our expectations, we are in trouble. So once you have these values, if you look at this, this is the heart of the office on the screen. What is this? There's a heart in the middle. That's the purpose and the impact. There's then a core around them. So if you look at just like the body, you have a heart in your body and there's a core built around it to protect it. That core is our core values. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can do it differently. We have to have the core values. On the outside of the core values is our team. Our team is the one we have to trust to make sure we do this and do this right. And then that's encompassed in our office. So our office is built up of a team that implements our core values to make sure that we reach and do and perform our purpose. That's what leads to our impact. So once you understand that, and you understand that no one's allowed to break those core values, no one's allowed to do it, you start realizing what you really need to do is hire people based on your core values, not based on what position is available. This is truly the biggest problem in chiropractic right now. We should be hiring staff based on fitting our values, not fitting the position. Every staff position you have can be filled, and not only can it be filled, it can be trained. Anybody can be trained to do anything in it. Sometimes you just go for, I want someone who has experience in sales. I want someone who has experience in collections. I want some, no. I don't care what you want on that. I care, do they fit in here? Do they match our core values? See, we have to stop hiring for the position and start hiring for the culture. If they don't fit into this office's culture, it doesn't matter how good they are at the position, it isn't going to work. If you can get one line from anything I say here today, it's this: hiring position fillers is hiring culture killers. I'm going to say it again. Hiring position fillers is hiring culture killers. See, as a simple example to explain this, if you owned a hunting store, if you owned a gun shop, the last person you should hire is a vegan. Now, it's nothing against vegans, but the simple truth is you can't own a hunting store and then hire a vegan. You say, well, they're good at sales. They're not going to fit at this kind of sales. I don't care how much past history in sales they have, it's not going to work here. I wouldn't hire a Satanist to work at a Christian organization. Well, yeah, but they're really good at recruiting. No, not for you, they won't be. You can't break past these certain things. Now, I know as I say these things, you say, well, those are just silly. Well, here's the thing I have seen. I have seen this being in this profession for this long. A chiropractor shouldn't hire someone who doesn't believe chiropractic works. And yet I've seen that happen. And why have I seen it happen? Because they hired someone based off of their work experience, not based off on who fits the culture. Yeah, but they're really, no. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. As another example of how important this is, there's a company called Zappos. Zappos is a very famous shoe company, and they're an online shoe store. And they do something. Now, I'm just going to preface this with, I'm not saying you should do this, okay? But this is. I just think it's a great understanding of value of the value of core values and the value of why we have to do this and why we have to have culture. Zappos does their entire first week of training. The entire week, the whole week is based on their core values. It has nothing to do with what they've hired people for, what they are wanting people to do. No matter what, their whole first week of training is solely on their values. Then at the end of that week, they offer every single person interviewing there that's gone through all of this training, they offer every single person $2,000 in cash to quit. They say, if you just walk now, if this doesn't fit you, we'll give you $2,000 to walk. Now, I know as a small business owner, you're thinking, that's just crazy. But here's what Zappos thinks. They believe and they know that if they hire the wrong person, it will cost them way more than $2,000. In a lot of ways, it can cost them stuff that they can't get back. It could cost a hurt customer. It could cost a customer never coming back. It could cause multiple customers to never refer again. It could do a whole lot. But that's how key this is. That's how key our culture is. Because here's what's going to happen. If you neglect the values, if you don't think the values are going to work, if you don't think they're that great, if you don't think it's necessary, what happens is as soon as we let the values go, it leads directly to the heart. And once you have a puncture to the heart, once you have an attack on the heart, once someone goes after the purpose and we quit working on purpose, it bleeds out. And once it bleeds out, not only do the people stop coming, but this is where we as business owners in chiropractic find ourselves constantly feeling like I'm just completing this actions. Why did they stop coming? Why did they quit coming here? Why are things going down? Why are things failing? A lot of it isn't because of the reasons and things you think it is. It's because of this. We let the purpose fail. We let the values go. And I'm here because I want to stop the bleeding. See, I also want you to understand when I talk about this culture stuff, this isn't just a change for doctors. This isn't just a thing where when I give you these basic tips, which some of them are going to challenge you, docs, not going to lie, they are going to be hard to hear. At the same time, it doesn't just change by you going back and dictating what to change, by you going to the doctors and telling them what to do. What changes is you have to be able to go to your team and talk about this. You have to talk about your culture. Talk about what makes things better. Talk about how we could improve things around here. I want their input. That's the way teams work. It works by giving input to each other. I'm not saying you have to do everything everybody says. I'm not saying you have to follow everything that is going on there. At the same time, we need to listen. We need to accept it. If you just want to dictate how the culture is going to work, it's still not going to be a good culture. We have to listen to the people around us and see what they think. Because now I want to go over the actual culture. The things that I think right now are easy changes, easy fixes, even though they might be challenging to you, I want to show you how they can be easily done. Because I found this one very simple deal right now. There are a lot of offices that used to have really good culture and don't. And this pandemic is mainly the reason. It beat up on them. It attacked them. Your cultures are no longer reflections of wellness. See, I truly believe that every single one of our offices should be a reflection of what wellness is. That's what culture is. Culture should be based off of wellness. If you're selling wellness and the concept of wellness and you're going to feel great for the rest of your life, and this is going to be better, this is the greatest decision. If the people in your office don't reflect what wellness is, or however they reflect anything, we're going to think that's a reflection of wellness. So if everybody in your office looks and seems miserable, then that's a reflection of what wellness is. That's what you're selling. So if everyone's unhappy, I walk in thinking, man, I don't know if this is what I want. I don't know. Nobody seems to be happy here. See, that's a reflection. I think you have to picture what wellness is, and we need to be a reflection of that. We need to try doing and going for what that is. And if we see that as feeling good, happy, healthy, loving life, that's what every single staff member should reflect. But what's happened during this pandemic is you may have been there. You may have done that. You may have thought that way. Your office may have felt that way. But everything that's changed and everything that's happened, your culture has more become a culture of exhaustion than wellness. Your culture has more become a culture of frustration, of annoyances, of just completing tasks. That's where the culture shifted. And that's why we get it back. And that's why I want to turn it back and get back to the awesomeness. So the simple way we're going to start this thing, the first step to culture, is start with the actual physical office. See, I don't know if you realize this. A lot of times you walk into your business and it's just the way it's been. It's the way it's always been. And you look at it and you think it's fine. But have you looked at your office from the patient's perspective? Have you gone back after a while and actually looked from someone else's perspective? See, I challenge you today, tomorrow morning, do it tomorrow morning. Wake up tomorrow morning, walk into your office and walk in and look as a new patient. Walk in and look from the perspective of someone who's never been here before and tell me, is this a place I want to come a lot? Or is this just another doctor's office? Is this just another waiting room? See, I think we need to up the game. I'm tired of us basing our reception rooms off of every other medical reception room. They're not right. I don't like sitting in those places. I don't want to go to those places. I think it's time to make it nice. I think it's time to make it. See, here's what I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet that your home, that your living room or your family room doesn't look like your reception area. Then you say, well, of course it doesn't, right? Well, of course it doesn't. A lot of you spend more time in your office than your home. And if you were to invite a bunch of people over to your home, you would be happy to have them sit anywhere. But what about your office? You're there all the time. Why shouldn't it be like your home? Why shouldn't it be as comforting as your home? Why do we just have black plastic and metal chairs everywhere? Why do we have uncomfortable chairs everywhere? Why do we have old furniture that looks like we got from a garage sale with magazines that are 400 years on it? Why do we have all these old things? Why? Why haven't we addressed and started making our office look like a really great, awesome place to be? See, why don't you even, here's some simple things. Why not have background music? See, I think that the one thing that everybody should do, and this is just my simple opinion as a patient, go uninstall the TVs. Take the TVs out. Why? Because 90% of you forget to turn them on anyway. There are so many TVs in reception rooms that aren't even on, that are just sitting there not working. Now, is that bad? No. You know why? Most of the time, most people don't notice it because they're staring at their phone. We're all staring at our phones. What if you provided phone chargers? What if you had charging stations in your reception area that people could actually charge their devices from? I always need a phone charge. What if you have background music? What if you had free bottled water? You know, there's a difference between every single place that opens and every single place that offers water. When you offer water, I instantly think, wow, this is a classy place. It's weird. It's not even, it can be a tiny little kid's water, just a tiny little thing. But if you offer water, that's a great thing. Aromatherapy. I know some of you love oils. I know some of you love your essential oils. Why not make the place smell better? Why not? Make it smell better, make it nicer. Then what about the look? See, when I talk about a living room, what if your office reception area looked like a living room? What if it looked like a fun place? I know some of you doctors, you'll look at this and say, well, those chairs aren't ergonomic. Those chairs aren't supportive of the back. No, neither are the chairs that go anywhere else. But this looks nice. This looks pretty. This is neat. I would feel homey in here. You're going to put on your treatment plan, I should come back 20 times. I'd want to come back 20 times to these places. There's some other places, though, I wouldn't really want to. Let me show you another simple example. Let's talk about treatment rooms. So I want to ask you a simple question. Which office do you want to sit in? Now, I already know that most of you doctors will be like, oh, either one. Some of you doctors will be like on the left. But I can promise you this. There isn't a patient alive that would choose the left one over the right one. Not a one. Everyone's going to choose the one on the right. You know why? Because it looks like home. It looks like it's nice and relaxing. See, there's a lot of times where you guys do stuff you like, but you don't worry about what the patient likes. Look at the room on the left, because this is such a common room. I've seen this room in so many offices. Let me ask you one simple question right off the bat. How many spines are enough spines? Like, how many are too many? Like there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within these 2 walls. I can't see the other walls. I can't see the other sides of these other walls. There's literally 5 spines. Why? Why are they there? Because here's what I know. I've been going to chiropractic since I was like 6, and I'm almost 40 years old now, which means I've been doing wellness for a long time. I've been in offices nationwide, all over the place. And in all that time, in all the different offices I've tried, I've gone through, I've visited, I have sat through tons of report of findings, tons of patient exams. And I could count on one hand, probably on 2 fingers, how many times I've had a doctor even reference the posters. You don't reference them. You don't refer to them. But yet you wouldn't decorate your house with spines everywhere. See, whereas the room on the right, there's just art. There's a mirror. Then we have a nice desk over there. Whereas on the left, we have what looks like someone stole a cart from an elementary school that held an overhead projector. Now, I know doctors, I know this stuff doesn't really matter to you. I know that you think, well, I'm a doctor. And these are things this is more convenient. But I don't care about convenience. I care about, we're going to have them come back 20 times. And if we're going to have them come back, this needs to be a nice place. And I can tell the room on the right doesn't cost that much. You can get that furniture on eBay. You can paint the walls. You can put up a mirror. But it's a different feeling. The one on the right feels like wellness. The one on the left feels like treatment. But we have to acknowledge this right off the bat. Now, what if I go over the culture of your staff areas? I know some of you have staff areas in your office that are just places only for staff. And this is the thing. Long ago, I worked for the Walt Disney World. I worked at Walt Disney World for a year and a half. And while working there, one of the biggest problems I had with Disney was that they were very open and honest about the fact that they spend money on their patients. I mean, they spend money on their guests, but they don't spend money on the employees. So everything that a guest will see, they spend money on it. But if it's behind the scenes, they don't. And I always thought this was the worst thing possible. This is the worst part of culture. See, what I want you to do is, I don't want you to make the office look nice. I want to make the office areas that nobody else sees nice. I don't want them to just be full of junk and storage in the corner. I don't want them to just be old furniture. I want nice offices. I want your employees to work in a nice place. And one of those, is a simple benefit. Here's what I would do if I were you, doctors. And I'm going to explain the simple reason. I would stop planning lunches and stop planning certain different deals and telling your staff, on Friday, I'm going to buy lunch for everyone. I wouldn't do that. I would just buy it and surprise them. Now, I know you think, well, what if they've already eaten? I don't care about that. I don't care. And here's the reason. I know, being married, that if I were to send my wife flowers, if I told my wife today, if I said, hey, honey, next week, flowers are going to come. I ordered you flowers. They're going to come. Here's her response. It's going to be something like this. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. What did you order? Did you order daisies? Or hydrangeas? I don't like hydrangeas. Did you? What are they going to be? It's just going to be question after question after question. And then when they arrive next week, she's going to be like, oh, look, they're here. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. And it's just going to be like, they're just going to go on the counter and it's going to be nothing. However, if I don't tell my wife I'm ordering her flowers and the flowers just show up, it's, oh, wow, you bought me flowers. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, this is so good. And it's totally different story. This is the same for your staff. If you told your staff, hey, I'm going to order lunch for everybody Friday, here's what your staff are going to say. Oh, great. He's ordering lunch. I guess that's nice. I hope it's not that last restaurant. Is it the pizza place we like, or is it the one that he likes? Is it, it'll just be graded. Then when it gets here, they'll be, oh, thank you for lunch. I didn't really want this. I'm still going to go out and do my own thing. And they won't care. They won't be as nice about it. But if you surprise them, it doesn't matter what, oh, there's pizza here. I love pizza. Thank you. Thank you so much. See, there's a difference between a surprise and a plan. When you plan it, it's nice and all, but it's time to surprise it, because we want the staff to think that we're doing more for them, that we're being better to them. for the same way, if you do a giveaway, if you have office t-shirts or you do something neat for the public, give every staff one. Give every staff the giveaway. Let them take part in it. I would upgrade the furniture in the staffing areas. If you have a table and a desk or a staff meeting area, upgrade the stuff. If it's the same stuff, this is the real simple way to look at this in terms of all of your office furniture. If you have the same furniture now as when you opened 10 years ago, it's time to change. It's time to move it. It's time to do something different. Do the walls in your staff areas motivate, or are the walls in your staff areas blank? I'm telling you, we have to pay more attention to this stuff because we want to create a desirable place to work. Let me throw one other. This is an idea that's an even crazier idea, but one that I think is truly important. What if you provided a massage chair in the staff area just for your staff? Now, I know this is a crazy thought to you, but this is something I've pushed for years for our doctors. I've told them for years, I would put massage chairs in the waiting room. And here's what I know. I know as soon as I say something like that, you say, well, how am I going to bill for it? I don't want you to bill for it. I want to provide something nice for people. I want to provide something good. This isn't about billing. This isn't about coding. This is about, let's provide some benefits here. But what if there was a massage chair just for staff? You think, why would we do that, Ron? Why would we even do it? We're just going to have people back there laying in the chair. No, here's the reason why you do it. Because I know, because I'm in customer service, and I know how this works. I know that your staff deals with some cruddy people. I know you have some patients that are not easy patients, that are a pain in the rear end. And when they're a pain, we don't want to deal with them. We don't want to work with them. It's tough. We have patients that get onto us, that yell at us, that come at us, that it's just like, oh my gracious. And here's the thing I know, being in service for all these years. As soon as someone's bad attitude gets to your team members, they immediately, if they let it get to them and they let it affect them, that is turned on every single patient after that. Every single patient they come in contact with after that is instantly impacted by that negativity. But what if you got just totally attacked by someone and that person could walk off, go to the back, get in this chair, get a massage, and just relax and remind themselves how great things are again? What if they could reset? What if they could change? What if you walked by Sarah and Sarah was like, oh, Sarah, you don't look so good. Are you okay? And all she had to do was say, I'm going to the chair. I'm going to the chair. And the chair just allowed someone a place to reset, to get back to providing patient care, better service. I say that to say, I promise you, as much as you could look at this chair as a stupid idea and it's just a costly idea, some of you are losing more money than you could ever spend on a chair based on just the service that's being deteriorated based off of bad interactions. That's why I'm pushing it. Now, I know already doctors are like, man, Ryan, you're just pushing a whole lot of things. This is a lot of stuff that you're just wanting us to do. And this is a lot of change. But see, I also want to make sure I understand I have a difference for the staff, because I think that your staff have it made and they don't realize it and they need to understand it. Your staff have it made when it comes to work. They don't have to work crazy hours. There's no weird overnight shifts here. Some of you guys even have 2-hour lunches, which I still don't understand and think is stupid, but that's what you're doing. They have easy schedules. They have simple schedules, but yet we're still acting like they got it bad. No, they've got it real easy. See, I think we should be expecting more work from our staff. I think if you create these benefits and create a better place to work, I think it also in turn, you as a business owner need to expect more. One of my favorite little sayings that staff will say, if somebody calls in or someone quits for the day, they'll say, I had to do the work of 3 people today. See, to me, that's one of the funniest complaints you can use. Why is it funny? Because simply this: if you did the work of 3 people, what it means is that we have people being lazy around here. You didn't work for the work of 3 people. You just proved that you can work harder. You proved you can do more. You proved that you're a better worker than what you've been. See, I think we should expect more from each other, not less. I think we should be expecting more over time. I think the longer a staff member is employed with you, the better employee they should be, not the other way around. I don't think time should just be a basis for loyalty. I think hard work should be the basis of loyalty. I think your staff should be working their heads off. If I can walk in and tell the difference between an employee who's just started and an employee who's been there 5 years, that's a problem, because usually the person who's new is happier. And that shouldn't be the case. If you've been there 5 years, you should be the happiest, most awesome, most grateful, most appreciative staff member on earth, because you've seen people get healed year after year. You've been a part of it. You've got to be there. You've got to do this. This isn't the other way around. It shouldn't just be, well, I'm just here and they know me, and so I get to keep my job. No, no. More work, better work. See, a lot of the times what we end up doing is we keep people a long time and we treat them like they're family. And we give that label in our teams as like, we're family. Here's a problem with that. Family should mean more than just time. Family doesn't mean longevity. If my dad calls and says, I have a flat tire, I don't say, it's not my day to work. I don't say, it's my day off. I say, I'll be right there. Why? Because there's a higher, bigger expectation from family. If we're going to call ourselves family, if something goes wrong, if somebody calls in, if something happens and there's a problem, you should be able to call up any staff member you'd call family and say, I need you. And they should say, I'll be right there. If not, it's not family. See, family in an office, teams that are strong in an office, understand the importance and value of taking responsibility. That's the culture. That's the culture expectation. I expect you to be responsible for your job. I expect you to not just do your job. I expect you to be the best at your job and take responsibility for the results at your job. At the same time, if we're going to take responsibility for it, we have to make sure we acknowledge it. If someone in your office does something good, we need to thank them publicly in front of the rest of the team. We need to recognize them more. The same studies I read to you earlier found this: 79% of employees say they would be more loyal to their employer if they received more recognition. We need to recognize more. If you recognize them, they will recognize you. You talk good about them, they'll talk good about you. You want your staff to tell more people about your place and how great it is, you have to tell them how great they are first. The last thing we should ever do is just naturally assume that every single person already knows how thankful we are for them, how good everything is. We have to make sure we're recognizing constantly. Then the last part that I'm going to go over today, we need to increase the fun factor. We all need to lighten up. We need to have more fun together. We need to have more fun as a team. And so that means we need to do stuff together. We need to do more things together. We need to have fun together. If you can't have fun with your team, that's a big culture problem. That's a big culture issue. And that's a thing we have to have fixed. We have to get right. We have to be able to have fun. See, the only party in the office shouldn't be the Christmas party. And I know some of you have even given up on Christmas parties. I know some of you are not planning any parties. I know some of you will plan patient parties. It's a patient appreciation days, but you don't plan parties with your staff. That's a problem. See, you say, well, my team really doesn't want to do it. That's a problem. You should be a team that wants to be together. You should be a team that enjoys being together. So you should be having more fun together. So I'm telling you, you should have team nights. Bowling. What if you went bowling as a team? What if you did Top Golf? Maybe you don't know what Top Golf is, but it's basically a fun version of a driving range, only there's drinks, food, and music involved. There's Chuck E. Cheese. You say, oh, that's for children, right? No, it's not. You put a bunch of adults on that skee ball table. I promise you, you will have a blast. Dave and Buster's. Axe throwing. That's one I don't personally understand. It seems dangerous, but a lot of people are into that. Putt-putt golf. Office karaoke. Say, no, that's even worse. No, office karaoke is a blast with a team. You learn a whole lot about a person by what song they choose. It can be a real eye-opener. Scavenger hunts. I don't really care what it is. Just plan something. Do stuff once a month, do something together. We have to make sure that we're doing this right. We have to make sure we're having a good time. We also have to make sure we're complimenting each other, fist bumping each other, being happy with each other. If we're not doing that, that's a problem. We have to be happy around each other. We have to be supportive of each other. Because why do we do this? Because it enhances the patient experience anyway. The better relationships we have with each other, the better relationships we'll have with our patients. That's just simply it. We have to make sure we do that, and we have to make sure we provide better service. I have, as you can tell from the side, I have a whole lot more that I could go over with you, that I could talk about in terms of service, but I think that this is a good place to leave it. I think this is a good place to end it. And I think that this gives you a basic understanding. But to close, just to make sure you understand it, we have to create a more desirable place to work. We have to provide a more desirable place to be. We have to recognize that this isn't just about the treatment. It's about the overall enjoyment of being there. Because honestly, doctors, if you tell me to come back 20 times, it needs to be a good place. If it's not a place I like, I'm not coming back. You can blame any other thing in the world, but it's not it. As an easy example, if you went to a restaurant and you didn't like it, and you had a bad experience at a restaurant, and they, when the check came, said, hey, here's the check. We've already scheduled you to come back 20 more times. Would you go back 20 more times? I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. And I realize that we want this to all just to be about the treatment, and we want this to all to just be about our adjusting, and we want this to all just to be about the care we provide, but it's bigger than that. We have to work on our culture. We have to work on the impact, and we've got to stay focused on making sure this is a great place to work. That's it, Valerie.
That's wonderful. Can you tell the people how to get in touch with you if they're interested in learning more about integrity?
Sure, of course. You can check us out at integritydoctors.com. I provide a webinar on there, which you can sign up for and watch. It's about a 10-minute webinar on everything that we do. Otherwise, you can also book a call with us immediately through there with our COO, Shelly Saigon. You can find me on social media at Ryan K. Maul. That's RyanKMaule. Like I said, I have a new web series on YouTube coming out in the next May 1st. So that's going to just be all free chiropractic business advice. No selling it, no nothing. I'm just releasing a whole bunch of stuff on how to provide services and do different things in your office from a business and a patient's perspective. And that will be free on YouTube starting in May. So very excited about that, but check us out, integritydoctors.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. That was some really great information. I'm going to use some of
appreciate
it in our office. Thanks again.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye.